Hi, my name is Kevo Meredith, and this is my story. Childhood was tough. I had a grandmother who was primarily a really big influence on my life. I had parents, and they tried their best, of course. They just, I guess, decisions they made, affected greatly how their life, how they would have to be in life. And for them, it was different. They were lazy. They didn't work a lot. They enjoyed handouts and things like that. So it was a childhood of we were poor. I mean, I remember wearing the same pair of pants. 5th grade. I'll never forget this. I wore the same pair of pants every single day. But we were in athletics. My grandmother made sure that I was into things that I wanted to be into. But it was tough. I don't have the toughest one ever, but it was a struggle, to say the least. There was a church in the area, and it was Victory Baptist. And I know Victory Baptist is out on like Roland Road or somewhere out there now. But at the time, they were on, I want to say it was like South 9th, maybe South 10th, or somewhere in there. And we had some neighbors that lived directly across the street. And my grandmother, heard them saying, talking about, and in parents at this time, because they were still around a lot, heard them talking about, hey, we go to Victory Baptist, etc. And so my grandmother thought, maybe they need to go, myself and my brother. And so we started going to Victory Baptist, and I was baptized there as a young kid, but I didn't even know why I was getting baptized. All I was told was, you need to do this. This is what saves you. It was almost like this is what makes God love you, etc. So you got to do this. And I didn't really understand or know or grasp why I was doing what I was doing. After that, it seemed like once I got into, let's say, junior high, it was my church background was non-existent. It was at times dark. I was fortunate, I was fortunate to meet the absolute love of my life. And sometimes you got to ask yourself, you say, why in the world would somebody like Mary still be with me? But I know it's because of Christ. But it was tough. There were some addiction things I battled. I've had multiple back surgeries, and so battling opioid addiction, which is is a huge thing right now, was very tough on me. And it was I had an accident in 2010 where I almost died. My wife and I have had 10 miscarriages. In 1999, we lost a son, and so it was tough. And I don't think in any way, shape, form, or fashion that anything that happened would not have happened had I had Christ in my heart. That's not at all. I think the way I handled them and the way I would have coped with them would have been the difference, and that is one of the most important things. It was the way I handled things. Everything I did was my fault. I'm not blaming anyone. It was a choice I made to continue to take pain pills when I didn't need them. It was a choice I made to every time I would go out somewhere, I want to get into a fight. Those were choices I made, and I didn't realize how much I was missing a part of my life until recently. I did find Christ. It was I'm telling you, man, it was like somebody flipped a light switch on. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced. Yeah, I remember waking up one night, and I remember waking up, and I remember waking Mary up, and I was like, this was 2 o'clock in the morning. You got to get up. And when I had the accident I had in 2010, I had coded twice. the first time was like 50 seconds, and the second time was like a minute and a half. It was touch and go there for a while. And I remember seeing my grandmother, and it just so happened I was holding my grandmother's hand when she passed away. And I remember seeing my grandmother, and I'm telling you, like it was like I'm sitting there talking to you. I remember seeing her with her hands up, and she was shaking her head and she was walking toward me. And I remember the visions behind her and the beauty of what I saw. And I'm telling you, as I am sitting here, I know I saw that. But then, oddly enough, I remember the flip side of that. I also remember seeing something totally different. I realized, that was in 2010. And it was like, I did not realize until several months ago that was I being shown the difference in Satan and the difference in Christ? Because one looked unbelievably beautiful, and my grandmother was there, and it was I'm telling you, and the other was frightening and not. And all of a sudden, I realized Mark Durham had been, asking me to come. He said I'd love it, and I immediately next morning got on the phone with Mark, and I said, Mark, you've been asking me to come. I need to give this a shot. And I believe coming in here the first time was all it took. Christ is in this place. If ever there's been one that I needed to go to, this was it. It's unbelievable. I didn't have a bad marriage. I traveled life on the road it's tough on marriage. But had I had Christ, I truly feel like it would have been easier. I would have coped with it, And now, my marriage is unbelievable. The thoughts I have, my reasons for doing things, waking up in the morning. And I know I'm sitting here and you think I'm trying to find the words. I think it's because it's absolutely shocking, the difference in what you think day to day and how you perceive things and how you just take life. Life's hard, we know that. And how you face things head on are totally different with Christ. My marriage, my relationship with our daughter, our grandchildren, everything's just different now. I wake up every morning, I go to the gym, and I'm telling you, that 10-minute drive getting to the gym, that 8 to 10 minute drive getting there, is like my one-on-one alone time with God. And I'm telling you, there's no radio on. I don't. With everything's going on in sports right now, I'm not listening to that. At that point in the morning, that is my time with God. And for that 8 to 10 minutes, I talk to him like he is my best friend. Like, I just want to let you know, this is what I'm thinking, and this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm experiencing, and this is somebody I really, really, really want you to put your hands on, and I really want you to do these things. It's amazing. We can't eat a meal now. We have a 7-year-old granddaughter who goes here too, and we can't eat a meal now, no matter where we are. She's got to say the prayer, and so God is just. It's not just a routine with us. It's become that God is a major. He is why we are us. That is it. So it's become just a norm in our house that God comes first. Having been to a few different churches here and there, because there was at times I wanted to re-solidify my faith and have a relationship with Christ. I don't know if God did it for a reason. I don't know why, but churches can be cliquish. The moment I walked through the door here, it was never an issue. Never an issue of you felt a click. I never felt that. It was from the moment I spoke to you, from the moment I spoke to Alan, James. I know people that have been here for years, Rob and Meredith and Kelly. The moment we walked in our Bible study Sunday morning group, it wasn't Ryan and I mean, it was everybody just ultimately just, hey, come in, and sit down. There's usually cliques with groups like that. We've been together, and oh my good, here's an outsider coming in. And we ultimately, Mary and I both, we left that day and we went, how have we not been doing this? I mean, number one, it's about God. It's not about everybody else, but God, we feel like, puts these people in our lives, and for a reason. And evidently, some of these other churches we tried, God didn't want us there. He wants us here. And it's a group of people from young to old. It's unlike anything ever. I mean, as I said earlier, our granddaughter, who's almost 8 now, she looks forward. She's up before us on Sunday mornings. I mean, that's the kind of place I believe this is. I mean, it's for young, for old, it doesn't matter, for beginners, for seasoned, it makes no difference. I just feel like everybody's welcome.